This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from the clubhouse, it's Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Nadine and
Alan Vann.
And tonight we watched Hereditary. And I would give it, personally, just 4 out of 5 headless moms. Even though it's very good. I respect it. It gets a lot of respect.
I gotta go 5 out of 5 headless moms.
That's fine. That's
great
reasonable.
movie, will go down as a classic. 20, 30 years from now, I'm not exaggerating, it's going to be considered up there with The Exorcist.
It was kind of a game changer.
It is. It absolutely is. The trailer scared me.
I could see it.
I remember watching that and being like, I'm going to love that movie. And sure enough, I went opening night, which for me is kind of a big deal. I remember there were very few movies that, like, the trailer just... Like, 3 come to mind. It was Hereditary, Whiplash, and Green Room. And, like, I now have a Green Room tattoo. Also another scary... automatic classic, Green Room.
I was thankful that I hadn't seen the trailer for it. Because,
Oh,
I mean, honestly, with horror movies, if you can go in without seeing the trailer, you're almost better off.
Are you talking about Green Room or Hereditary?
Hereditary.
Oh, gotcha, okay. Yeah, no, it's going to be considered one of the best. I do not think it's just hype.
Alan is a super awesome Richmond comic who I met last Monday when I just randomly decided that I was finally going to go try stand-up, and so I Googled it, found one that
great.
was... Thanks, you're super nice. Found one that was happening that night and went and did it, and so many nice people, and Alan was one of them, and I was whining about the podcast, and he said that he would be on an episode. He's awesome.
I try. Any opportunity to talk about horror movies and spooky shit, I jump at, because I'm like I say in the joke that you like about Mothman, I'm a total nerd for this stuff.
I could see that. Also, just random funny note, guys, Alan and I were talking about Hereditary before, and he took one of his friends to go see it at the Bird, and then when we were talking about it, I was like, you know what, Amanda and I went to go see it at the Bird. I was like, in the middle of the movie, she just randomly was like, what the? And he was like, oh, I was there.
Yeah, I was there. I took my friend, another comic, Kate Carroll, who, famous last words, had said to me a day before seeing it, I've never been scared by a movie. And then 15 to 20 minutes before the end of the movie, she latched onto my arm with her nails and didn't let go until it was over. So that was a really fun experience. I kind of rubbed that in her face for... I'm going to be honest, at least a year. It was a year. It was a year of constant torment. Oh, I just found out a cool fact today. You know that Winnie the Pooh horror movie that they were waiting till, it entered the public domain to release?
I have not heard about this.
You haven't heard about Winnie the Pooh?
No.
Blood and Honey?
No, but I definitely want to see it.
I'm really excited about it because they've released it so far is a publicity still and a poster. But I found out the other day that one of my really good friends from back in Hampton Roads, who moved to LA to become a big-time movie composer, he did the score. I'm very excited about that if we're talking upcoming horror.
Yeah, that'll be super interesting to see. One of the things that we thought that we would talk about today, guys, sort of like a random all over the place episode, but Alan actually used to live in a haunted house.
Yeah. There's actually 2 different houses in the same neighborhood back in Newport News. It's called Hilton Village. Mm-hmm. It was built in 1919. It was actually historically protected as being the first government-subsidized housing for shipyard workers during wartime. Oh, I grew up, I went, and I moved back there a few years after college and lived in a house across the street from the one I grew up in. And between those 2 houses, I saw a lot of weird stuff.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So do you think that's the whole area, probably everyone's seeing
the whole
creepy stuff?
neighborhood. I remember meeting up with friends from the neighborhood, and every one of us had a story. It was a very interesting neighborhood.
I love it when people have ghost stories. Mm-hmm. Everyone's is so different. I love hearing the way that people react to them. Because that always cracks me up.
I mean, I've had, I guess you want to call it good luck. I've lived in, I want to say 10 apartments or houses throughout my life, and at least half of them have had experiences. So even Richmond, lived in Oregon Hill and had a couple stories from there. One of my favorite ones was one involving a skeptic friend of mine. We lived in the dorms together at Johnson Hall, which I have my own ghost stories about Johnson Hall, and she used to make fun of me for loving ghost stories and stuff. And I would ride past her house on Laurel, right as you enter Oregon Hill, from my restaurant at like 3, 4 in the morning, and her light in her room was always on. And finally one day, I was like, "Hey, Erica, why is your light on 24/7 in your bedroom?" Verbatim, her, you can bleep things, right?
Sure.
Okay.
I guess.
Her verbatim answer was,
You can also swear if that's what you're worried about.
yeah. Well, it's a big one. Her answer was, because if I don't, every night at like 2:30 in the morning, some walks into my room and sits at the foot of my bed and stares at me till I wake up.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. In an old like dress and everything, and she's like, yeah, no, like 1920s.
Oh man.
Or earlier. She didn't really know time periods. What she described to me was like, I don't know, like pre-Victorian, but called her and I was like, Erica, you used to always make fun of me for loving ghost stories. And she goes, did you notice I've stopped? And yeah, so like, yeah, I dropped it. I was like, okay, this is a sore topic. She's not sleeping much.
I just love that she was like, lights on, problem solved.
Yeah, I know. I mean, she said that the lights helped. Like, apparently, I don't know. I think that maybe they threw off the ghost's sleep schedule.
Do you remember like what was the one when you were like the youngest?
The youngest, oh, that's fun. So the youngest was the house I grew up in. I used to sit in my window with my childhood cat, and we would, we had a great view of our neighbor's backyard, and that house in particular was, I mean, like I said, most of the houses in Hilton have stories, but that was the one that was in like the L.B. Taylor Jr. Ghost of Virginia books.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he actually came to one of the local churches and gave like a historical lesson on Virginia folklore and ghosts.
It's a cool church.
Yeah.
That's doing that.
So that was the house, the house that everyone avoids, and I would watch their bench swing in the backyard just go back and forth for hours with no wind. And I remember is that like moment of before you like learn about like, that's a formula of time of like not knowing yet what's normal and not normal, let alone paranormal. I remember being like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like 6, just being like, that's odd. I don't know how I feel about that, because it is a calm, dull summer day with no breeze. You know that scene in The Sixth Sense when she leaves the kitchen and comes back and all the cupboards and doors are open?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he lifts his hands off the table, you see that he's been sitting there the whole time.
Yes.
That happened literally like shot for shot. I was making ramen in the kitchen and watching TV in the next room. And so I would go check on the water, see if it was boiling, go watch a little TV, come back. And literally in 30 seconds of walking from the kitchen to going back to the TV and then walking back, every cupboard and drawer was open. And I remember,
So
I remember my first thought was, and then my second thought being like, obsessed with movies was, this is derivative. This is very derivative of M. Night Shyamalan.
This is not an original ghost.
Yeah, maybe I'd watched The Sixth Sense at some point in this house, and the ghost was like, all right, look.
It's like, that's a good idea.
That's a good one. That he's like sitting with his other ghost friends comparing notes. He's like, look, I totally came up with this one all on my own. And they're all like, they haven't seen the movie. They're like, you're a genius.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it was that one messed me up for days.
I would just be like, you know what? I think I'm good without ramen.
The thing that I found most, and I don't know if this is just like fodder for people who want to say that we're all making it up or imagining, but one of the things I found that is like most surprising about experiencing stuff like this is how quickly you just kind of go, nope, and just like go about your day.
Yes.
Because you don't want to, the longer you think about it, the more you're going to be unnerved or like weirded out.
And it's like, what are you really gonna do?
Yeah,
Like,
what can you can't call the Ghostbusters. You can't like you can call your priest or deacon or bishop or whatever, but they're probably gonna be like, you're being ridiculous.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, I would only go to that extreme of, like, calling someone to try to do, like, some sort of exorcism or cleansing or something if the ghost was being violent. Other than that, if it was just, like, a hijinks ghost, I'd be like, I think we can deal.
Like the time that it threw a pair of scissors at my roommate.
Oh, see, that's too much.
That was from from another room.
Oh,
she
man.
was home alone, and there was a pair of scissors in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden they were in the living room, like 6 inches from her feet. And she called me freaked out. That's the only time that anything like that happened. Mostly we just got like a like, what are you doing in my space kind of vibe. The few times that we saw him, it was just kind of like standing, staring, like, why are you in my living room? Or my late friend Bob had him walk in front of the TV at 3 a.m. in pitch black room. And then when he got up and went into the kitchen, there was no one in there. And
So
he,
creepy.
like, I think Bob was just kind of like, I just remembered, Bob didn't tell us about that for 3 months because he didn't want us to worry.
Aw.
Which kind of says more to, like, how sweet of a
Guy he
yeah,
was.
he was kind of a softy. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that one bugged me because when I finally found out, I was like, I'm collecting these stories and you didn't tell me? He was like, I didn't know.
Your secret collection of ghost stories. It always blows my mind, like, you know, Paranormal Activity and how it was just like 3 people basically that made that movie. That always blows my mind to think of that. It makes it seem so doable that you could just come up with an idea, like.
Yeah, and Oren Peli had like no experience whatsoever before. He had no interest in like film. He just had an idea and went with it, which is pretty inspiring. It broke the Night of the Living Dead record of like lowest production versus final money made, which is impressive because everyone thought that was going to stand for another like 1,000 years. I mean, they paid all the zombies a penny a day.
Aw, penny a day.
Yeah, a penny a day.
Honestly, I feel like I would dress up and be a background zombie in a movie for nothing. That would be super fun.
I mean, for the chance to meet Romero before he died, absolutely.
Yeah. So, have you said yet, like, the one that you feel like that creeped you out the most? Or,
No.
Okay. Which one is the creepiest?
That's tough. So I did see him coming down the stairs out of the corner of my eye in a suit and tie, but that was in the middle of the day. That one was more of a. That house was. We were all in our 20s, and like I said, Bob was sleeping on the couch 4 nights out of the week. So it was very much a house of people coming in and out. Friends would maybe give us a heads up text before coming over, but literally you could just be sitting watching TV and your friend would walk in and no knock, and we considered that the norm.
So was part of you like, oh,
A part of
someone
me
has a
would-
businessman over?
Like somebody let one of their friends go upstairs to use the bathroom, and then I was like, but in a suit and tie, and when I turned around, he's gone. But the ones that scared me the most were probably sitting on my bed, watching TV in my bedroom with the door shut, and the doorknob just kept turning but not opening.
Oh my gosh. I don't think that I could sleep there that night. That would be one of the ones where I'd have to leave the house at least for 24 hours.
Again, it's a 1919 house. The doorknobs were like heavy brass doorknobs. The locks, or the latch was very secure, which might be why it just kept turning but not opening. It almost had like the feel of like a child who didn't have quite the strength to make it click. But it was 5 minutes straight, 4 different intervals.
Oh man.
And every time I would get up, because I'm, for somebody who's like willing to like go on the record talking about this stuff, I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am very analytical and I do not like
Earth sign.
yes, I'm a Taurus. And as I've always joked, one of the defining characteristics of a Taurus is I do not believe in astrology. But that's slowly starting to, I don't know. That's a whole different conversation.
It's not that I like crazy believe in astrology. I just think it's fun.
Yeah, no, that was my stance, and then I dated 2 different girls who had the same birthday, and now I'm kind of coming around.
Almost a believer.
Yeah.
You're like, they were kind of the same people.
So
You're like, and I would rather believe that it's due to astrology and not due to me just picking out the same fatal flaws.
No, I'm just attracted to the same kind of neuroses. No, it's the moon.
What sign were they?
Yeah, Aquarius. I don't want to talk about it. But no, I am analytical, and I once saw a water glass that I'd filled and set down slide a foot across a tablecloth runner table at the country club that I was working at. That was also like 120 years old.
Yeah.
I filled up another glass and I tried to slide it, and it being a tablecloth, of course, it fell over. And I was like, okay, no, that's weird. But every time this doorknob thing happened, I got up and I opened the door. And I did a search of the house, and I was completely alone. It was like 3 p.m. On a Monday. And then eventually, I decided that walking around all alone was not worth the creepy being watched feeling. So I just sat in my room and watched it happen the remaining, like, you know, however many times it happened. And finally I just yelled, like, cut it the fuck out. And it stopped. But it was just like, you know, it would jiggle violently. Like it was trying to, like, it was, you know.
First 4 times it was probably a little kid ghost, and it was like, this is a hilarious
I
game.
just scared the shit out of a kid.
I know, as soon as you yelled at it, it was like, you're not fun anymore.
Yeah, no, this is, our game is over. No, what was the scariest,
I mean, man, a doorknob would really freak
that
me
one,
out.
yeah,
I
no,
would
that's
hate
the
that.
scariest in the moment. The one that really bugged me, I was dating a much older Californian girl who was very much into astrology. Did my, you know, birth chart on our first date at the bar.
She wanted to make sure that there was any reason for you guys to go out on.
Yeah. And very analytical as well. She was an Aries. God, now, I'm kind of disturbed at how easily I can now talk about astrology, having no formative interest in it growing up. You know, I was 21, she was, you know, 30-ish, and she brought a...
You said much older. I would think
at
more
21,
than like a
at 21,
decade.
At 21, that's a big gap.
I mean, it is.
Now it's like, oh, you know, what's a decade? No, it's still kind of a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, she brought a Ouija board into the house once. And
nope.
I mean, I have one right over there.
I will never play it with you, just so you know. I do not mess with that type of stuff.
This was after the cupboards kitchen incident. We did a whole session thing. And I don't know to this day how much of it was, you know, I don't know how much is somebody else moving it around or what, but yeah, so we got a full name, which was weird. Mm-hmm. And what bugged me, what probably gave me the most, like, arm hair standing up on end thing is that 6 months to a year after the Ouija board session, we noticed for the first time in our however many years of living at this house that there was a whole family's worth of initials in the cement in the driveway with the year 1962 on them. And there was the exact same initials twice, the second one with Junior after it. So we have the dad and presumably the son.
Yeah.
And that was I had to take a walk around the block kind of moment. Because like I said, you do a Ouija board session, you get like a name, I can't remember, it was like Joe something. And, you know, I spent, 6 months to a year just being like, okay, somebody just picked a name out of the hat, or out of their mind.
Yeah.
And, spell it out. And then to see it in cement, probably my most definitive, like, okay, maybe there's more to this than just like, wouldn't it be cool if, and more of there might be.
Yeah.
Might be definite proof to this. This is, yeah.
Makes sense.
That one, yeah, no, that, I'm feeling weird now. That one really bugged me, yeah. Because, like, what are we gonna do? Like, one of my, then girlfriends, like, friends in construction, like, demolished my driveway while I slept and, like, report it with, fake evidence. No, it's...
Slept through the demolishing of a driveway. Who are you, like one of the Amityville family?
Yeah, it's a jackhammer going off for 4 hours without me noticing. Not likely. That one and one that didn't happen to me always bugged me. My roommate had a girl over that he was seeing, and she worked really early in the morning, and one night we were all downstairs partying, whatever. And while she was
super fun for her.
Yeah, while she was upstairs sleeping, and the next day she asked Stu, my roommate at the time, why he came in and got something from his closet in the middle of the night. And she said, like, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock, she woke up and saw, you know, somebody come in the room, come around the bed, because the closet was on the other side. And she said, closet opened up, he rustled around in there, grabbed something and left. And Stu had to break the news to her that between the hours of like midnight and 3 a.m., nobody had gone in that room. And she didn't come over for a month or two after that. That one bugged me because I can only imagine how unnerving that is. You know, like
that is
just
really creepy.
Seeing, you know, a 6-foot-tall man come into your bedroom at night. 8.5, 9 years of living in the house.
I know, which I also feel like even the ones that like I can talk myself out of later and like try to rationalize away or be like, oh, I was just being crazy or like imagining it. Even with that, there's still like the creepy feeling that you get in the moment, and that's not gone either way.
Yeah, no, you remember how you felt. One of my favorite, like, you know, true life ghost stories that I've ever read is from a compilation called Dancing with the Dark, and it's about a family where they saw like this green tinted man, and he would like just run down this hallway towards them.
I don't like that he's running.
Yeah, that they said it was like cartoonishly, like, you know, running.
Okay.
And their 12-year-old son had it happen to him, and he got so scared that his retina detached, and he, for the remainder of his like 50, 60-year life, could no longer see out of his left eye. I got my favorite story about all of this is another one of my late friends, Chris. He moved in with me. He worked at the shipyard. We lived together for about 2 years. We were elementary school friends, and we fell out of touch for, you know, decades or so. And then he needed a place to live. He saw on Facebook that I needed a roommate. He came over one day. You know, the disclaimer. I was like, just a heads up. A lot of people have seen a lot of weird stuff in this house. I don't want you to be off put by it immediately and like move out, saying I didn't warn you. And he, I'll never forget this. God rest his soul. He would hate me saying that because of what I'm about to say. He gave me a chuckle, like a condescending chuckle, and was like, Alan, I am a Richard Dawkins type atheist. Okay? And like he even said that. And I was like, oh, like, so you're insufferable is what you're saying. Like, because I have nothing against atheists.
Honestly, anyone who's the most about their beliefs.
Yeah. But Chris chuckled, said the Richard Dawkins thing. He said, I think I'll be fine. I'm probably making him more despicable.
I know, was he mildly British?
He's going to start haunting me because he did die like 3 years after he moved out. But the fun part about that is not even 3 months into living with me. I was driving to Richmond to visit my then girlfriend because I lived in Newport News, she lived in Richmond, and I made the drive 3-4 times a week.
Oh, needy.
What?
A lot of driving time to see each other that much.
Hey,
I feel like once a week is more than enough if there's that much distance.
I'm codependent. What can I say? No, it was a mutual thing.
Sorry, I'm just an introvert.
No,
I
you're
just
fine.
always make fun
You're
of people
totally
when they actually care about each other.
You have attachments? How cute.
Hilarious.
Wow. I was passing West Point. You know, means I've been on the road for about 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I get a call from Chris, and he goes, where'd you go? I go, what are you talking about? So a little, you know, background. The second floor was back bedroom, which faced the yard, bathroom, and then 2 master bedrooms. Well, one master, one like slightly smaller. But the back bedroom was the smallest. He was happy with that one, single guy. He had his desk on the wall so that where he was sitting, to his right was the open hallway leading to my room. So he was sitting at his desk. The stairs, the landing of the stairs literally was his open door, and then the hallway down to my bedroom. he said that he was at his desk, and out of the corner of his eye, he saw somebody come up from the stairs, turn their back to his door, and walk down the hall into my bedroom. And he said, like, even he could see distinctly, you know, the shoes as they turned into my bedroom, but my light didn't turn on. So whoever walked into my room just walked into a dark room. And he said that after like a minute of the light not turning on, he was like, "What's wrong with Alan?" And he got up from his desk, walked into my bedroom, turned the light on, and of course no one was in there. And he was so sure that he saw he said he saw someone walk the entire length of a 10-foot hallway. He was so freaked out by it that he called me in a panic. And I was like, he goes, "Where'd you go?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" "I'm passing West Point, dude." Like,
yeah.
I've been gone for at least 40 minutes, because I think I got something to eat beforehand. So I was out of the house by the time he got home from work. And he goes, no, like, really, where are you? And I'm like, I'm passing West Point, my dude.
He was like, "I know you want me to believe in your ghost, but
yeah, no, yeah, like he had this like he had this like amused kind of like panic in his voice, where it's like kind of like that, like no, but really, and I could hear him kind of like it's coming back to me so vividly. I can remember him vaguely muttering under his breath to himself, like just kind of like, but I saw.
Oh.
But no. And and he goes, like, are you serious? I'm like, I will FaceTime you from her house to like show you. We're in Richmond. Yeah. And he was like, no, that's fine. I just I'll talk to you later.
Aww.
And then when I came back, like 2-3 days later, he gave me like the full explanation, including like a recreation, and was just like, "So this is what happened, and this is why I'm like vaguely disturbed right now." I can't ask him because he's dead, but like I think that he had some kind of like suspicion that it would give me too much satisfaction to tell me these stories. What he would do instead is give me vague outlines of what his life in that house was like by asking me questions about where I've been. He would say things like, "Did you try to open my bedroom door at 3 in the morning?"
Which, like, why would you?
And I'd be like, "No." "Why?" He'd go, "No reason." And just like stare at me. Or like he would be like, "So were you banging things in the kitchen, like, opening and shutting cupboards in the kitchen yesterday afternoon?" I would be like, "No, I was at work." "Why would you ask me that?" "No reason," And then finally, at the risk of, a Richard Dawkins type atheist coming back from the grave to haunt me for saying this about him, when he moved out, he said the funniest thing. He said, "Alan, I want to thank you for my time here. It was nice getting reacquainted. My time here has led me to reevaluate some things." Another weird thing about that apartment is we would all have these very vivid dreams of us dying, like being killed violently, and it was constant. Like it was not uncommon to hear people wake up with like a kind of a breath, like a
almost like it was hard for
taking
them
like
to breathe.
scream, just
okay.
like a like constant, like you would be like, "Oh, Bob's up," or "Alan's up," and it's just like, yeah, it was a really bizarre place.
All right, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, of course, anytime. You guys, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Scary Movie Clubcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you all next movie night, and don't forget, there are 62 days till Halloween. Bye.
Bye. The house I grew up in.
Alan's cat Bimo is trying to go into the paper bag that I brought the mic in.
Oh,
classic cat behavior.
He's fully in the bag. Look at that. That is adorable.
Enjoy yourself, Bimo. Can I just say that I think it's very funny that this whole time that your roommates keep carrying these strips, because it's like as if they're moving a body.
Oh my god, I'm just glad that they're leaving.
That just cracks me up.
No, I've been trying to get them out for. But yeah, now that I'm seeing them take stuff out, it's just
Dream.
I'm the happiest I've been in months. But like, oh God, don't get me started on black-eyed children. Jeez, those black-eyed children scare the ever-living daylights out of me. Just as a concept, like,
And it's creepy.
it's so creepy. Like, can we come in? No. But like, people feel compelled to say yes. Like that suggests hypnotism. I think.
Well, and also they're kids.
They're children vampires, is what they are.
I mean, I can just tell you right now that a child vampire would for sure be able to murder me. I'm not gonna not help the child. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
What was Claudia's technique in Interview with Vampire?
Oh yeah,
she just
such a
sat.
little
She
cutie.
sat on street benches or park benches and cried.
She would have gotten me.
And when people come over to comfort her, she just bites down.
And like, even if I had had a dream where, like, I could see our future interaction, all of it happened, still, the next day when I heard her crying, I'd be like, okay, but I'm not gonna walk past this little child, let's cry.
I made a joke recently about the vampire from Let the Right One In.
So good. One of my favorite horror
I think it was
movies.
it was like the Twitter format of like, she's a 10, but, and it was like, she's a 10, but is trapped in the immortal form of an 11-year-old and dispatches your school bullies with vicious precision, you know, or something like that.
There's a cat in there?
Yeah, there's another cat. Yeah, it's their cat.
Oh, okay. My, like, club friends and we play a game all the time. Well, I play a game with them where I'm like, he's perfect in every way but, and
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious to, like, just pick whatever I can that's super random and be like, okay, but he hates your cat, or like something like that. And be like, but literally everything else is exactly what you've always dreamed of in your whole life.
Yeah.
Just so you know, if you end up listening to this episode, which I only say if because you would be shocked at like how the people who are on the podcast don't listen to the podcast. Just know that I have a reputation for being like a slasher when I edit. So I
hope you are. I hope you are. So are you? Is it recording now?
It's still Okay.
So yeah, like I recently while I was seeing the last person I was seeing, I tweeted evidence the person I'm dating or evidence the person I'm seeing is a cryptid. 1 is spooky. 2 enjoys nighttime walks in the woods. 3 people debate her existence. 4 her lamenting howls have terrified locals for hundreds of years. That's just 62?
Well, no, for when it goes out, there are 62 days till Halloween.
Fair point. Man, it got me excited.